You're running, legs burning, lungs screaming, through a maze of your own doubts. Why can't I find peace? Why am I still lost? The Buddha once whispered to a desperate seeker, "You are not lost. You are just afraid to see what's already here." What if I told you the answer isn't in the silence, but in the scream, not in the light, but in the shadow? That enlightenment isn't a distant mountain peak. It's the fire burning in your brokenness. Tonight, we rip open the veil. No platitudes, no fairy tales, just the raw, unforgiving truth. Your greatest suffering holds the code to your freedom. The maze, it's a mirage. The chains, they're illusions. And the storm you've been running from? It's the doorway. You've been asking, why me? But the real question is, are you ready to stop running and become the storm? Segment 1. The nature of karma. The Buddha once said, "All that we are is the result of what we have thought. The mind is everything. What we think, we become." And these words unlock the mystery of karma, a force not of punishment, but of purpose, a law as relentless as gravity, yet as gentle as a seed pushing through soil. Picture this: Ananda, a woman in a forgotten village, poor but kind, working tirelessly yet watching others thrive, her heart whispering, "Why them? Why not me?" Until a monk handed her a mango seed and said, "Plant this." But no, its fruit depends not on the seed alone, but the soil, the rain, the sunlight, and your patience. She planted it, watered it, loved it, until drought came, cracking the earth, withering her hope, and she sobbed, "Why was I not good enough?" The monk replied, "The drought wasn't punishment, it was a teacher. The seed's purpose wasn't just to bear fruit, but to show you how to endure, how to trust life's unfolding." Years later, that tree stood tall, its branches heavy with the sweetest mangoes, and Ananda understood. Struggles are not failures, they're invitations to grow roots deeper than your doubts. The Buddha taught, intention is karma. Intending, one does karma by way of body, speech, and mind, which means every action, whether donating to charity for praise or for compassion, ripples differently. One feeds the ego, the other nourishes the soul. Imagine yourself passed over for a promotion, your mind screaming, "I deserve this, why them?" But karma asks, did you compete with envy or integrity? Did you uplift others or resent their light? Karma isn't instant. It's a slow burn, a harsh word today, fracturing a friendship tomorrow, a small kindness now inspiring a stranger decades later. The Buddha warned, we are shaped by our thoughts. We become what we think. So ask yourself, are your thoughts seeds of fear or hope, judgment or grace? For one day, try this. Write down your dominant thought each hour. I'm not enough. This will fail. I trust the process and witness the garden of your mind. Ananda's story teaches us life's droughts are not curses, they're blessings in disguise, forcing us to dig deeper, to find resilience we never knew we had. So I ask you, what seeds are you planting today? Are they seeds of patience in traffic, kindness in a grocery line, forgiveness in heartache? Or are you scattering seeds of resentment, impatience, doubt? Remember, every thought, word, and deed is a seed, and the universe always answers with a harvest. The job you lost, it might lead you to your purpose. The heartbreak you suffered, it might open you to love you'd never imagine. The Buddha's greatest gift was this truth. Nothing is permanent, not your pain, not your joy, but your karma. It follows you, like a shadow, like a friend. So pause, breathe, and ask, what fruit will my seeds bear? What legacy will my intentions leave? The answers lie not in the storm, but in how you dance in the rain. And if you still doubt, remember Ananda's mango tree. once withered, now unbreakable, and know your seeds too will bloom. When the time is right, the rain will come, the sun will shine, and the harvest, it will be sweeter than you ever imagined, because karma is not a judge. It's a gardener tending to the seeds you plant with every breath, every choice, every moment of courage or fear. So today, right now, ask yourself, what will I grow? What will I leave behind? The answer is not in the future. It's in the seed you hold in your hand today. Segment 2. The Wisdom of Impermanence. The Buddha once said, "Everything is impermanent. Arise and pass away. This is the nature of life." And these words hold the key to freedom from suffering. Picture this. A monk cradling a delicate teacup asks his teacher, "Master, how do I find peace in a world that's always changing?" The teacher takes the cup, smashes it to the ground and says, "This is peace. The cup was already broken. Its beauty lay not in lasting forever, but in being held and let go." The monk stares at the shards, confused, until the teacher whispers, "Cling to nothing, and nothing will break you." Impermanence, the truth that nothing lasts, not joy, not pain, not life, not death, is the greatest teacher we'll ever know. The Buddha called it anicca, the universal law of change. Think of the seasons. Spring's blossoms fall, winter's ice melts, summer's heat fades. Your pain, it will pass. Your joy, it will evolve. The job you lose, the love you cherish, the youth you grieve, all are temporary guests in the inn of your life. A Zen story tells of a man who built his home on a riverbank, proud of its strength, until the river swelled, sweeping it away. He howled at the sky, "Why me?" A passing monk said, "You built on sand and called it stone. The river was never yours to control." Impermanence isn't cruel, it's honest. It whispers, "Hold life loosely, or it will break your grip." The Buddha taught, in the end, only 3 things matter: how much you loved, how gently you lived, and how gracefully you let go of what was not yours. Imagine yourself. You're fired from a job you hated but clung to for security. You panic, until you realize this loss is a door to a path you'd never dare choose. Or you're heartbroken, until you notice this pain is carving space for a love deeper than you knew possible. Impermanence is the artist who destroys your masterpiece to paint a new one. Try this. For 1 week, each time you grip something, your phone, a relationship, a plan, whisper, "This too will change." Feel the tension melt. Feel the freedom. The Buddha said you could search the whole world and find no one more deserving of love than yourself. Yet we whip ourselves for aging, for failing, for not being enough, as if time owes us permanence. A mother once asked the Buddha, "How do I heal after losing my child?" He replied, "Bring me a mustard seed from a home that's never known loss." She searched and returned empty-handed, but wise. Loss is the price of love. Impermanence is the ticket to gratitude. So I ask you, what are you clinging to? The body that ages, the plan that failed, the past that's gone. Remember the shattered teacup. Its beauty wasn't in perfection, but in its courage to exist, knowing it would break. Today, right now, let go. Trust the river. Dance with the seasons. And when change comes, as it always will, whisper, "This is how I grow." For the Buddha's greatest truth was this: nothing is forever except the peace of accepting what is. Segment 3. The interconnectedness of all things. The Buddha once said, "All things arise and pass away through interdependence. Nothing exists in isolation, not a single dewdrop, not a single star, And these words reveal the heart of a truth so profound it can liberate us. We are all connected. Picture this: 1,000 mirrors arranged in a vast hall, each reflecting the others. Infinite light bouncing between them. No beginning, no end. This is Indra's net, an ancient Buddhist metaphor for the web of life where every thread, every being, every action vibrates the whole. A monk once asked his teacher, "Master, how can I end suffering?" The teacher plucked a petal from a lotus and said, "See this. Its beauty comes from the mud, the water, the sun. Destroy one, destroy them all. Now tell me, where does your pain end and others begin?" The monk sat in silence and understood his suffering was never his alone. The air you breathe, it's the same air that filled the lungs of the Buddha. The water you drink, it's the same water that once quenched the thirst of ancestors you'll never know. A Zen story tells of a farmer who poisoned a rat in his field, only to weep as his child fell ill. The rat's corpse had tainted the soil tainted the crop tainted his child. The Buddha taught, whatever a person frequently thinks, that becomes the inclination of their mind. Your anger, it pollutes the collective well. Your compassion, it purifies it. Imagine this: you yell at a stranger in traffic who goes home and yells at their child, who bullies a classmate, who grows into a man filled with rage. Or you smiled at a stranger who felt seen, who donated to a shelter where a homeless woman found hope. This is karma's web, every thought, word, deed, a stone dropped into the ocean of humanity. The Buddha said, as a flower is made of non-flower elements, rain, soil, sunshine, so too are you made of non-you elements. Your body, a temporary gathering of stardust and stolen sunlight. Your mind, a collage of every conversation, every book, every heartache. Nothing is yours, and everything is yours. A modern-day parable. A man in New York buys a coffee. The barista, stressed and rushed, spills it. The man smiles, no worries. The barista, moved by kindness, gives free cookies to a single mother who shares them with her son, who groups them with friends, one of whom becomes a scientist curing a disease. That coffee spill, it saved lives. This is interbeing, Thich Nhat Hanh's term for our inescapable oneness. The Buddha warned, hating others is like drinking poison and hoping they die. Your hate, your love, they return to you, multiplied. Try this. For one day, live as if every action, every thought is a seed planted in the garden of humanity. Hold the door for someone and imagine the ripple. Silence a cruel joke and imagine the healing. The Buddha's greatest miracle wasn't walking on water. It was revealing that the water, the air, the earth, and you are one. A student once asked, "How do I find enlightenment?" The teacher pointed to a river and said, "See how the waves crash, yet the river flows on. You are the wave and the river. Your pain, your joy, they belong to all." So I ask you, what will you contribute to the web? More anger or more grace? More division or more bridges? Remember, the butterfly's wings in Brazil stir the hurricane in Texas. Your kindness in Kolkata calms the storm in your own heart. Today, right now, whisper to the world, "I see you, I am you, we are one." For the Buddha's final words were not a command, but a reminder. All component things pass away. Strive on with mindfulness and love. And in that love, the web holds, the net shines, and the mirrors reflect eternally. Segment 4, Trusting the Journey. The Buddha once said, "The way is not in the sky, the way is in the heart." And these words ignite a truth we so often forget. Trust is the bridge between suffering and peace. Picture this. A young monk stands at a crossroads torn between two paths. "Master," he pleads, "which way leads to enlightenment?" The teacher smiles. "Walk, and you will know." The monk protests. "But what if I choose wrong?" The teacher laughs. "There is no wrong path, only paths that teach differently." Trusting the journey means surrendering the illusion of control, the belief that you can force life into a shape it refuses to take. The Buddha called this upekkha, equanimity, the courage to meet life as it is, not as you demand it to be. Imagine a river, fight its current, and you drown, flow with it, and you reach the ocean. A Zen story tells of a man who clung to a log in a raging river, screaming for help, until he realized the log was the river and he was the log. He let go and floated to safety. Trust is not passivity, it's the art of partnering with life. The Buddha taught, peace comes from within, do not seek it without. Yet we scramble for promotions, lovers and likes, as if happiness lurks in the next accomplishment. A woman once asked the Buddha, "How do I find happiness?" He replied, "Tie a rock to your foot and jump into the ocean. When you release the rock, you will float." The rock, your attachments, the ocean, life itself. Trusting the journey means untying the rocks, the need to be right, loved, admired. Imagine yourself. You're laid off from a job that drained your soul. You panic until you notice. This loss is a gift, a chance to rebuild a life that honors your truth. Or you're diagnosed with illness. And in the terror, you discover a strength so fierce, it shatters your limits. The Buddha said, health is the greatest gift, contentment the greatest wealth, trust the greatest relationship. Try this. For 1 week, each time you worry, whisper, "I don't need to know, I just need to trust." Feel the weight lift. Feel the space open. A farmer once begged the sky for rain, while ignoring the clouds already gathering. The Buddha whispered, "The seeds you planted will grow when the time is right." Your dreams? They're seeds. Your pain? It's rain. Your patience? It's the soil. Trust the seasons of your life. A modern-day parable. A man spends years forcing a relationship to work until it collapses. He's devastated until he meets a woman who challenges him to grow in ways he never imagined. The Buddha's greatest lesson: you can't lose what's truly yours, and you can't keep what isn't. So I ask you, what are you clinging to? The plan that failed, the love that left, the future you imagined? Remember the monk at the crossroads. Every path teaches, every step matters. Today, right now, close your eyes and whisper, "I release control, I trust the journey." For the Buddha's final words were not of fear, but of faith. All things are impermanent. Strive on with diligence and let go. And in that letting go, the river carries you, the seeds bloom, and the path reveals itself. Segment 5. The Path to Enlightenment. The Buddha once said, "You are the community, you are the teacher, you are the path." And these words ignite the ultimate truth. Enlightenment is not a destination. It's a way of walking. Picture this. A seeker kneels before the Buddha, trembling with desperation. "How do I find nirvana? I've climbed mountains, fasted for weeks, given away all I own, yet peace eludes me." The Buddha smiles, his eyes like twin moons, and points to the sky, then to the earth, then to the seeker's heart. Nirvana is here, now. In the moment you stop chasing it, you seek a fire while holding a match. Enlightenment is not escape. It's embracing life so fully that the divide between sacred and ordinary dissolves. The Buddha called it Bodhi, awakening, the realization that you are not a drop in the ocean. You are the ocean in a drop. A Zen story tells of a monk who meditated for decades in a cave, his body gaunt, his mind a fortress of discipline, until one day a sparrow perched on his windowsill and sang, a melody so pure, so unexpected, that the monk's eyes flooded with tears. All those years, and truth was in the song all along, he whispered, his voice cracking. The path to enlightenment is not in asceticism, but in mindfulness, the art of seeing the divine in the daily. The Buddha taught, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. Nothing changes, yet everything changes. Imagine yourself washing dishes, but noticing the warmth of the water caressing your skin, the glint of soap bubbles shimmering like tiny galaxies, the rhythm of breath syncing with the clink of porcelain. This is practice. This is presence. This is the path. A modern-day parable. A CEO, her soul burned out by spreadsheets and shareholder meetings, quits her job, sells her penthouse, travels to Bali, meditates on a beach at dawn, the waves crashing like a mantra, only to realize, as the sun rose, peace wasn't in Bali, it was in my office, in the steam of my morning coffee, in the laughter of colleagues, if I'd paused to see it. The Buddha's Four Noble Truths are not philosophy, they're a map etched in the bones of existence. Suffering exists, craving causes it, freedom is possible. The Eightfold Path is the way, right view, seeing life as it is, not as you fear or fantasize. Right intention, aligning your heart with compassion, not greed. Right speech, words that heal, not harm. Right action, deeds that uplift, not destroy. Right livelihood, work that honors life, not exploits it. Right effort, nurturing the good, weeding the toxic. Right mindfulness, awareness in every step, every bite, every breath. Right concentration, focus so deep, the world fades and truth emerges. These are not rules, but invitations to align thought, word, and deed with truth. Try this. For one day, live the Eightfold Path. Speak only kindness, even to the telemarketer who interrupts your dinner. Work with integrity, even when no one's watching. Focus on the breath when stress claws at your throat. Notice how the mind resists, then softens, like clay in a potter's hands. A student once asked a Zen master, "How will I know I'm enlightened?" The master plucked a cherry blossom and said, "When the sky is no longer sky, but a canvas of infinite blue, and the ground is no longer ground, but a dance of dust and starlight, you'll know." Enlightenment is the shattering of illusion, the realization that you've always been free, but chained by your own stories. The Buddha said, "Be a lamp unto yourself, yet we seek light in gurus, books and retreats, while the flame burns within, a spark waiting to be fanned." Imagine a man who spends years studying the stars through telescopes, charting constellations, only to discover the universe in his toddler's laughter, a sound so joyful, so unfettered, it echoes the Big Bang. This is awakening, the collapse of separation, the melting of the wall between me and you. The Buddha's final words were, "All component things decay. Work diligently for your liberation. Not pray, not worship, but work." Enlightenment is a verb. It's choosing compassion over anger when cut off in traffic, stillness over chaos when deadlines loom, truth over delusion when the mirror reflects your flaws, moment by moment by moment. So I ask you, what step will you take today? Will you pause and taste the tea instead of gulping it, noticing the bittersweet tang, the heat on your tongue, the way it steams like a prayer. Will you listen, truly listen, to the cry of a stranger, not just their words, but the unspoken grief beneath? Will you sit in silence and meet the monster of your mind, the doubts, the shame, the not enough, until it becomes a friend whispering, "You are already whole"? Remember the monk in the cave. Enlightenment wasn't in the years of meditation, but in the tear that fell at the bird's song, a moment so fragile, it held eternity. Today, right now, whisper, "I am the path, I am the teacher, I am the community." For the Buddha's greatest gift was this: there is no you and the way. There is only you way, walking itself. And in that walking, the wood is chopped, the water is carried, and the world is reborn. Not in flames and glory, but in the quiet moments where grace and grit collide. Outro. You began lost in the maze. Now you are the maze and the map. Karma's seeds, impermanence's fire, the web that binds us all. They've led you here, not to the mountaintop, but to the mirror. Buddhism Pathways isn't about answers. It's about unleashing the questions that set you free. Subscribe. Dare to walk the path that's always been under your feet. The storm, it was never the enemy. You are the I.